has Andrew Tate ever had a job?
Oh yeah, I've had jobs.
What were your first jobs? Walk people down that lane.
I'm not a rich guy. I'm just a poor guy with lots of money. I am, no, but I mean that. I've had jobs. I started off my first job, I was carrying boxes of fish.
How old were you?
15.
50. That was your first job?
Yeah, they were like 25 kilo boxes of fish with ice in them, and I was carrying them from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. at a fish market. That was my first job. I've worked in sales. I was an IT technician at my school.
No way.
Yeah, I've done loads of things. I've done loads of jobs.
Andrew Tate was on sales calls?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I've done loads of different jobs. And I'm very glad I grew up in the real world, because I think that there's no light without dark. And if you're born rich or you're born privileged, you're going to have a particularly unique experience of misery, because you're not going to be truly happy. You're not going to understand why. And no one's going to ever feel sorry for you or understand it, because, of course, you're from a privileged background. You're living this great life. But you need to have had bad things happen to you for you to appreciate any of the good things you're ever going to have. So, in fact, when my brother and I talk, often we talk about the stories from the bad days. Our best stories, our happiest memories are when we were completely broke. It's kind of funny how the good old days are constantly being lived and you don't appreciate them till afterwards. But yeah, I've worked a bunch of normal jobs. I've lived a very normal life until I reached the highest echelon of finances. And I guess that's where you learn all the lessons on the way, where you start from a single mother household on government housing all the way to the top, to having companies worth billions of dollars. And you pass through all the different stages along the way. And you see all the different attitudes of the people as you go through it.
What were some of the other jobs, if you don't mind me asking, that you had? You fish, sales?
So yeah, I worked in the fish market for a while, which was fun, but it was very physically intensive, and I was training at the time. I wanted to become a kickboxing world champion, so I decided to get an easier job. I got a job as an IT technician at my own school, at my old school. I was 17 then.
You went to college?
No, I did go to college. I went to college in England, but I'm not sure how it matches up with the American educational system. So
sure.
I finished high school at 16. I went to college 17 and 18. When I was 18 and I finished college, I went back to my old high school and worked as an IT technician, but I got fired for sleeping with one of the students.
Was she hot?
Very hot. She was 16, I was 18, I got fired.
Opa.
And then I got fired from there, and then I went and got a sales job.
How did sales sharpen you? Because one of the common denominators of some of the most successful people in the world has always been sales. I did door-to-door sales.
Yep.
I used to work selling solar. I later worked at Tesla. And it was always in sales, and it sharpens you to a whole new level. How did sales?
I think the best salespeople in the world are double glazing salesmen.
What is that?
Windows double glazing salesmen.
Why is that?
I think that must be the hardest sales job, because if you sell cars, for example, somebody turns up on the car lot, and they've turned up at the Audi dealership because they have a degree of respect for the Audi brand, and they maybe want an Audi. And you have to convince them it's better than the BMW and make sure they can afford it and sell them the Audi. Okay, fine. But if you're going to sell somebody windows, they already have windows in their house. You're not turning up to some crack den with no windows. So firstly, you have to make them want the windows.
Right.
That's the first thing you have to do. You unsolicitedly knock on someone's door and say, I'm here to give you windows. And they're going to say, I have windows, I don't want windows. And then you're going to sit there and convince them that they need windows. And then once you've convinced them of that, you have to convince them to choose you over all your competitors and spend thousands and thousands of dollars, $20,000 or $30,000, replacing plastic and glass that they already had in their walls. I think that'd be a very hard job to do. And I think that would make you a very good salesman. But life is sales in general, right? You have to be able to make people understand the way you think. And I think that's all sales effectively is. It's having thoughts and being able to project them in a way that people follow them logically and want to agree with you or are inclined to agree with you at the end. So I think life is sales. Getting a girl to fall in love with you to a degree is sales. And convincing a judge you're innocent is sales.
And it builds tremendous character and resilience.
So you have to get used to being rejected.
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of times over. Yeah, it builds character.
And it's amazing how if you start a sales job and you're rejected at the beginning, it's such a big deal, but after a while, the rejection just doesn't sting anymore.
Yeah.
Which perhaps answers back earlier when we were talking about my confidence to sit here and say things that get me in trouble. It just doesn't sting anymore.
Did you?
This will come out and the BBC will type up something about what I said and how bad of a person I am, and I won't care. It just doesn't matter anymore. So I'm that guy now. I just keep knocking at the door of fate. I keep knocking at the door waiting for them to eventually grab me and throw me in the cell. So we'll see how it goes.